From the Joy News Center. This is News at 8.
Welcome to the Primetime News Bulletin here on Joy News and Multi TV. If you're watching anywhere in Europe, this is ABN Television. In this edition, Chairman of Governing Council of Narcotics Control Board breaks his silence on the dissolution of the board. We'll bring you up to speed on developments in the latest cocaine saga. The minority in Parliament is meanwhile calling for a bipartisan parliamentary committee to investigate unfolding events in the Nayele Amefefe cocaine saga. National Democratic Congress once again postpones National Delegates Congress as it closes filing of nominations, which include one surprise contender. We'll tell you who that person is. More heated exchanges in Parliament as debate on 2015 budget shift to the country's energy situation. Now, the IEA is pushing for the enactment of a fiscal responsibility law to ensure targets set in the budget are adhered to. We have more business, sports, showbiz, and international news coming up. Do stay tuned.
News at 8 with Israel Rai.
The very first story, minority members of Parliament are calling for an immediate constitution of a bipartisan parliamentary committee to investigate the unfolding events in the Nayele Amefepe cocaine saga and the responses from key government operatives on the matter. At a news conference today, the MPs also strongly recommended a complete overhaul of the Narcotics Control Board to make it more efficient and effective.
The minority MPs say Ghanaians will be more convinced government is serious on its war against narcotics if it is able to overhaul the Narcotics Control Board. They are also calling on the president to immediately present to Parliament the draft bill prepared in 2008, which seeks to turn NACOB into a commission.
The jitters and convulsions that have afflicted the NDC in this Nayele Amefefe VVIP cocaine saga is simply frightening, even though one would have thought that it is such occasions that require cool heads and not hot-headed bellicosity. The nation watches in wild amazement the philippic responses from government functionaries, a tale of 2 ministers and 2 deputy ministers. All this, unfortunately, is not comical to a nation in deep financial and economic distress. The unfolding events in the VVIP cocaine saga and the responses from the key government operatives, including the Minister of Communications and the Minister of Foreign Affairs, call for the intervention of Parliament. In the circumstance, we call for the constitution of a bipartisan parliamentary committee to investigate this Nayele Amefefe cocaine saga that is causing such huge hemorrhage to this blessed nation of ours.
The position of the executive secretary of NACOB, which they say has since 2009 been entrusted with politicians, must rather be reserved for professionals and intelligence operatives. The minority is further advising government to, going forward, immediately re-engage the UK and US security agencies to reconstruct their collaboration in the fight against narcotics. They are suggesting stiffer sanctions for any Ghanaian official caught collaborating with drug carriers. Aishi Rhyme, Joy News, Parliament, Accra.
Well, the immediate past chairman of the Governing Council of the Narcotics Control Board, Captain retired Barima Osei Asare, has expressed his quiet about the manner in which he and his colleagues were removed from office. In a recent statement released from the presidency, the dissolution of the board was announced days after the arrest of a Ghanaian lady, Nayele Amefefe, in London for attempting to smuggle cocaine into the UK. and follows shortly on the heels of a press statement from the Drug Enforcement Agency giving details about the arrest. But Captain Barima Osei Asare says the dissolution appears to be a case of sacrificing a weak and innocent lamb to appease an angry and besieged God. In a statement issued in Accra, Captain Osei Asare said he was even more disappointed with the conduct of some ministers of state who he said had made disparaging remarks against the board without attempting to speak to officials. On the dissolution of the board, he stated, and I quote, "All I can with humility say is that the power to appoint, reconstitute on expiration of terms and dismissals with cogent reasons is the exclusive prerogative of His Excellency the President of the Republic of Ghana. When dissolutions are, however, announced, ostensibly creating the erroneous impression as if the board had done something untoward, that could be very disheartening, to say the least. It affects the hard-won integrity and reputation of the individual members of the board who have striven at great sacrifices to put NACOB on an even keel." The entire statement is available on myjoyonline.com. Right, so you're encouraged to get onto My Joy Online and to read the entire statement for your edification. Plus, there are other stories there you may find interesting. In another development, 9 more persons have been picked up in Accra by the Bureau of National Investigations in connection with a cocaine bust. 2 women among the 9 persons arrested in connection with the scandal were said to have traveled with the prime suspect, Nayele Amethope. The ladies, Nana Ikuamponsa and Sadalia Nuhu, are said to have abandoned their bags and absconded from the Heathrow International Airport after Nayele was busted. The other 7 are Pakwesi Akwa, believed to be Sandra's boyfriend, Mustafa Kilba, 3 Lebanese, Faisal Kader, Abdullah Mustra, Mui Jafar and Shabel Nasri, and Italian Mariotto Bernard Young. Earlier, 3 Foreign Affairs staff were remanded into prison custody by a circuit court. This brings the arrests so far by the BNI to 12. Meanwhile, Nayele Amethope is due in court tomorrow, Thursday, November 27, and would be there to bring you proceedings, even though it's taking place all the way in London. In other news, there were yet more heated exchanges on the floor of Parliament on Wednesday when debate on the 2015 budget shifted to the country's energy situation. Energy Minister Kofi Boah accused the Eswa Akufo administration of not doing much to tackle the energy problems and yet politicizing the issue. But the Deputy Minister of Energy under that regime, Kobna Tahir Mohammed, or Katie Hammond, hit back and described the accusation as a lie.
The issue of power generation.
Contributing to the debate, Minister for Energy Emmanuel Kofi Boah reiterated the 2015 budget statement seeks to continue with the medium-term objective of increasing power generation capacity. He also appreciated government's efforts and lamented what he described as the seeming politicization of energy issues by the opposition.
For our friends who have been trying to do politics, for over 2,000 megawatts of generation, this map, this chart that I have, says that the only generation we have between 2000 and 2008 is 150. We are adding almost 300 just in this coming quarter. But more importantly, Mr. Speaker, we have, within this short period of time, approved major IPPs that has never happened before in this country. We have approved SemPower, we have approved Jacobson, we have approved Amandi, altogether over 1,000 megawatts. Because of the problems, we are bringing emergency power, 450 megawatt Jacobs, car power. Collectively, we have to agree that the issue of power generation, the realities we face today, whether it's faulty plants, whether unavailability of plant, whether it's the issue of not having gas. Mr. Speaker, we must collectively join hands to address the issue of power.
A comment Kobna Tahir Hammond, MP for Adansia Sokwa, described as lies.
Lies, and illegality in taking the country into the crude oil era. The NDC government is poised to do the following. Mr. Speaker, how can a government worthy of anything tell fundamental lies of this nature? Mr. Speaker, commerciality of oil in this country was declared on the 19th of June 2007 when I.K.T. Hammond was the Deputy Minister of Energy. I have never been a member of this government. I have never been a member of this party. How come that this government says that they put this country on the road to the discovery of oil and gas in this country? The only installed capacity that this budget talks about, again, is another 12 megawatts of solar energy. That is what my colleague should be boasting about, because that is the only thing apart from the two that I talked about. So if they're able to do it, they have only 14 megawatts of solar installed capacity. Mr. Speaker, shame unto them.
Speaking for the first time since his nomination, Minister for Power Designate Dr. Kwabena Donkor regretted the lack of investment in the energy sector over the years is to be blamed for the current predicament.
The development of this country, our potential is so huge, and yet to some extent we've been limited by inadequate power supply across the years. Mr. Speaker, we have collectively underinvested in the provision of power infrastructure across a number of years, across administrations. And therefore today we are reaping our collective underinvestment. Let this House resolve that this mistake of the past will not be visited on future generations.
The 2015 budget statement recognizes energy as an absolutely critical requirement for sustainable economic growth and development, but admits adequate supply of energy remains a major challenge for the country. Aisha Ibrahim, Joy News, Parliament, Accra.
The calls for the reinstatement of the Managing Director of the Electricity Company of Ghana, Reverend Engineer Hutton Mensah, are not going away yet. The latest to join the many workers of the company is the Public Utilities Workers Union of the Trade Union Congress. General Secretary Atu Bonzi says they still do not understand why he was reassigned, having started some good projects at ECG.
Reverend Engineer Hutton Mensah was last Friday asked to report to the Ministry of Energy and Petroleum to be reassigned. The decision from the presidency has since not gone down well with staff of the company who have since been wearing red armbands. The workers are demanding Reverend Engineer Hutton Mensah be reinstated. They argue the Electricity Company of Ghana has witnessed enormous and verifiable achievements since Reverend Engineer Hutton Mensah was appointed Managing Director. Unionized staff at the company held a press conference Tuesday to register their displeasure over the reassignment of the Managing Director. The General Secretary of the Public Utility Workers Union, addressing the conference, said that at the time the Managing Director steered the helm of affairs, distribution losses drastically reduced to about 22.8% from 27.2%.
Distribution losses has currently been reduced to 22.8% from 27.2% in 2011 when he took over as Managing Director. Please note that in the PRC benchmark for distribution, losses is 21%, and the international benchmark is 15%. His target with staff for next year would have been 21%. Is this the leader that should be replaced?
The staff of Electricity Company of Ghana are urging government to consider the works of engineer Hutton Mensah and reinstate him since his reassignment was done unfairly.
Inspector General of Police Mohammed Ahmed Al-Hassan has urged private business to support efforts by the police to develop office and residential accommodation for its personnel. At the groundbreaking ceremony for the construction of a regional headquarters for the Upper West Region, he stated the police service over the years has grappled with accommodation and a general infrastructure deficit and is therefore excited about the current public-private partnership initiative by government to meet that need. Afiq Salam's report from Wa.
Since the creation of the Upper West region and the corresponding upgrade of Wa to the status of a regional capital, no befitting office accommodation has been provided for the Regional Police Command. The Regional Police Command created shared offices with the Municipal Police Headquarters. Decades on, the situation has not changed, creating serious congestion in the office. Personnel sometimes have to crawl on benches in order to move to their tables and chairs for work. In 2003, a 15-acre parcel of land at Wasombi was purchased for the construction of a regional police headquarters and barracks, but to date, no serious action has been taken to have these projects executed. Upper West Regional Police Commander DCOP Kwesi Mensah Duku commended the collaborative effort of the IGP, Upper West Regional Coordinating Council, Lands Commission, chiefs and the land owners who have played diverse roles in facilitating the acquisition for the project. DCOP Mensah Duku appealed to the Regional Coordinating Council and the Lands Commission to expedite action on the acquisition and payment of appropriate compensation for the landowners. He relished the relative peace the region is enjoying despite recent infractions.
Upper West region is relatively peaceful, and I can say without any contradiction that the Upper West region is the most peaceful region in the country. In spite of our recent infraction between the Dejehiri and the Dondolis, we still maintain our position as the peaceful region in the whole of the country. And I believe that we will continue to be peaceful region in Ghana.
Deputy Upper West Regional Minister Dr. Mushibu Mohammed Alpha expressed concern over the growing incidence of encroachment on public lands in the region.
Private developers are seriously putting up structures on such lands and ignoring notices from assemblies and the land sector agencies to stop any such development. The spate of encroachment on public lands has reached a level that if serious measures are not taken to address the situation, it will have dire consequences on future developmental needs. I wish to make a passionate appeal to our traditional authorities to please respect land agreements arrived at with the land authorities and not to resell or reallocate such lands to private developers.
Inspector General of Police Mohammed Ahmed Al-Hassan encouraged the private sector to help develop office and residential accommodation for police officers and singled out for praise USS UYA Ghana Limited for giving out fuel for the clearing of the land and molding of over 5,000 blocks, both amounting to 15,000 Ghana cedis for the project.
We in the police service over the years have faced infrastructural deficits. It's for this reason that we see government's policy on the PPP initiatives, the public-private partnership initiative, as a blessing coming to us. Permit me, therefore, Honorable Deputy Minister, to use this platform to encourage all well-meaning private investors to partner the police in our quest to develop office and residential accommodation for our personnel all over the country and particularly in this region.
The IGP, with the support of the Deputy Upper West Regional Minister, then programmed for construction to start on the two-story building project. The project is being executed by the State Department of the Ghana Police Service and expected to be completed in 24 months. The IGP also used the opportunity to commission the regional police clinic in Wa, which will serve the police and residents in nearby communities. Rafiq Salam's report from Wa.
Still to come in the bulletin, health experts maintain that cowhide, also known as willy, is not very good for your health. We'll explain why. The National Democratic Congress has yet again postponed the date for its National Delegates Congress, earlier scheduled to take place on Saturday, December 13 at the Baba Yara Sports Stadium in Kumasi. The date for the National Congress had already been changed a number of times this year due to several legal disputes initiated by some party members, but managed to settle on December 13 after an out-of-court settlement. NDC National Organizer Yabua Tingjan explains the Congress had to be rescheduled again due to accommodation problems, and that December 20 is the new date.
We have some men on the ground who are working, who are doing a lot of preparatory work as far as this Congress is concerned. And information that we got from them was that schools are still in session. And you know, when it comes to events like this, you need to, house a lot of people, most especially the observers, those who are non-delegates. A lot of people will be coming, and if you don't have hostels and dormitories to house them, it becomes a problem. So that is the reason why we decided that let us push it a week ahead so that we may have the opportunity of getting those hostels to house the observers who will be trooping in there.
Well, the filing of nominations for various national executive officers of the ruling NDC has ended with more than 100 persons submitting their nominations. The party on Wednesday closed nominations after an 8-day filing period for national executive hopefuls. One interesting development, however, was the emergence of a challenger for the position of General Secretary.
Scores of supporters thronged the former headquarters of the National Democratic Congress to lend support to various aspirants filing nominations. Amidst cheer songs, the aspirants came in one after the other to file their nominations. Positions ranging from National Youth Organizer to Party Chairman are all up for grab, as no position was spared, with even current General Secretary of the party, Johnson Isiedun Ketia, facing competition from one Abdallah Ishaq Farrakhan.
I'm absolutely confident of winning the incumbent, Mr. General Isiedun Ketia, who happens to be my brother. I believe that I'm going to take the mantle from him. Isiedun Ketia never won the election alone. I'm repeating it. It's through all of us, our hard work, from the grassroots to the up. All of his leadership and stewardship. Very good. He did well. We don't condemn him. He's my senior brother. He has done well, but he has got to a place where now he's tired. So he should leave the system. He's tired. That is me. That is me. That is me. You think he's tired? Yes, I see he's tired. So this is the time they should give it to the exuberant, energetic people like us to also move the party forward. I'll be 60 plus. 60 plus. Inshallah. So that means you're going to sweep more than 60% of the votes cast? Yes, more than 60%. What happens then, assuming you lose the election? That is politics. Election for you.
General Secretary of the NDC, Johnson Isiedun Ketia, refused to comment on his opponent, but said he was looking forward to reorganizing the party structures so as to effectively respond to the party's changing needs when given the mandate one more time.
My first and foremost wish is to reorganize the party structures and the organs of the party to respond to the changing needs of the party at all levels, and to make them more representative of the membership of the party. Specifically, I will wish and I will push for the expansion of the National Executive Committee of the party.
Aspiring chairman and coordinator of the National Disaster Management Organization, Kofi Potofi, after filing his nomination, said he was hopeful of victory come December 20. He, however, added that his commitment to the party was not going to change even in the unlikely event of him losing out to his competitors.
If you see yourself above everybody else, if you think you are the be-all and the end-all, you put yourself above God, the Creator, and it is not right. I cannot say that without Kofi Potofi as chairman, then the NDC will not win 2016. I've not been chairman, but I've been committed to working for the NDC. And whether I'm chairman or not, I'll be committed to working for the victory of the NDC. That must be the assurance for everybody in this country, every NDC person. You get what I'm saying? So I'll be thinking, and God will not forgive me if I say that without me, then NDC will not win 2016 election.
In the end, however, two groups in the party with aspirants for various positions seemed to have emerged, with one team led by NADMO boss Kofi Potofi and the other led by Johnson Esiedun Ketia, who urged delegates to vote for specific candidates if they wanted the party to retain power come 2016. National organizer of the party, Yao Boatinjan, however, thinks there's nothing wrong with the call by the General Secretary and the decision by some aspirants to align themselves to particular groups.
We'll have a name, for ourselves. People used to call us a Key and Popo. Why are they calling us a Key and Popo? Because we get on well. We plan together, we strategize together, we do a lot of things to push the party. And I think he has made his assertion when he addressed people who were at Dr. Kabreji's campaign launch, told them that he wanted some people to be, selected or elected as national executive member. And he thinks that these are the people who can help him, to achieve the goals of the party come 2016. I think each and every one of us has his own kind of people that he will want to work with. I do not think that you will even want to dine with your enemy, or you want to work with somebody who do not agree with you on certain principles. I will not call them factions, but I will call them teams. Yes, if you say team, yes. But I don't think that people like Potofi and the rest.
The end of the road has come for those who were unable to submit their nomination forms in time, but it will be interesting to know which surprises turn out on December 20 at the Baba Yara Sports Stadium. But even before that, a vetting process for the various aspirants is expected to start on Friday, November 28. For Joy News, Kwabena Chenche Hinibuati.
A one-day training workshop on basic monitoring and evaluation concept has been organized for Metropolitan, Municipal and District Chief Executives and presiding members in the Eastern Region. The workshop is aimed at enhancing the capacity of MMDCEs and presiding members to properly understand the concept of monitoring and evaluation. A report by Haruna Yusuf Wumpene.
The workshop, organized by the National Development Planning Commission, aims to build the capacity of all MMDCEs and presiding members in the region to better understand the concept of monitoring and evaluation. This monitoring and evaluation manual book will guide all MMDCEs to understand how to write good reports for their medium-term development plans. Eastern Regional Minister Entry Buasiako Setri participated in the workshop.
Add momentum to the efforts to embed the culture of M&E in all agencies of government and to the development of an integrated national monitoring and evaluation system. It will further facilitate the collection, analysis and dissemination of information on performance and outcomes and enable the National Development Planning Commission and other ministries, departments and agencies to feed the analysis from the district and regional reports directly into policy and decision-making processes.
The head of the Monitoring and Evaluation Division of the National Development Planning Commission, Bruno Dere, explained the rationale for the workshop.
And the presiding members at the district level. So we are bringing all of them in this region for a workshop, basic M&E training on monitoring and evaluation. And so the objective of this workshop is first and foremost to enhance their capacity to do monitoring and evaluation. And so that is the overall objective, so that they can understand and practice M&E well, because they're implementing projects. So as we understand, we improve on the understanding.
The workshop brought together Metropolitan, Municipal and District Chief Executives, presiding members and 2 regional ministers from the Greater Accra and Eastern regions. Haruna Yusuf Wumpene's report from the Eastern region.
Up next, we bring you business news, but that Willie story is still in there. It will be coming up later on.
What's so special about the people in the corner? They're not just there to enjoy the show. They are those who are there from the beginning. They are there in the moments of truth. In the difficult moments when it looks like you are all alone. They are the ones who stay with you. They stop you from giving up. They are the ones who win when you win. And they are certainly the ones you want in your corner for every big occasion. Who is in your corner? GCB Bank, your bank for life.
It's now time to get you informed on what's happening in the business world. We start with something on inflation, and inflation in the prices of goods and services produced by industries in Ghana declined to 39.6% in October from 47% in September 2014. This, the Ghana Statistical Service says, was largely due to the inflation in utility subsector, which declined sharply from 76.1% in September to 27.8% in October this year. The decrease in the producer price inflation by 39.6% represents a decrease in producer inflation by 7.4 percentage points relative to the rate in September 2014. The month-on-month change in producer prices between September 2014 and October 2014 was 0.9%. The Statistical Service attributes the decrease mainly to the utilities, mining and quarrying subsectors.
The utility subsector declined from a level of 76.1% to 27.8%. That's a sharp decline. And the mining subsector also declined from 50.6% to 48.7%. So these are the main two reasons why we have seen the drop of 7.4%. You know, it's as a result of the base drift effect. You know, in October 2013, we had a very sharp rise in utility prices as a result of the price adjustment in the fuel and products. And so that is accounting for this sharp drop we are seeing.
Dr. Philomena Nyako explained that the PPI will continue to fall if the cedi continues to appreciate.
We are seeing that there's a drop in the world prices of gold. So that is also accounting for the decline that we are seeing in that. If the cedi continues to appreciate, we'll see a decline. And if world prices of gold continues to decline, we'll continue to see a drop. But if it goes up, then obviously the trend will change.
The manufacturing sector, which covers more than 2/3 of total industry, also increased slightly by 0.2 percentage points to record 40.3%. Well, the Institute of Economic Affairs has been talking about the budget, and the IEA has called for a fiscal responsibility law to entrench fiscal discipline in the country's budgeting system. For the IEA, Ghana's bad records in respecting fiscal deficit targets and overruns can only be dealt with by law, and will also ensure that the 6.9% deficit target for 2015 is achieved. The IEA, while addressing the media on the 2015 budget, commended government for a budget that seeks to stabilize the economy, a move they believe the country needs with the current difficulties. But the IEA cautions of difficult times ahead for Ghanaians with a stabilization budget.
Whenever you have to consolidate, you have to stabilize, there will be costs, because the government, you can see that they have to raise taxes. Some people to affect those who are going to pay the taxes. They're going to probably have to phase out consumer subsidies. This will affect consumers. There is the issue of freezing employment, net employment. It means that those who are unemployed and waiting for the opportunity to get a government job will have to wait. and this will affect them and also their families.
The IEA says although the budget targets a lower deficit of 6.5% of GDP for 2015, there is a need for a law to entrench it.
Now, as a country, we don't seem to be able to discipline ourselves and then keep to our targets. So what we are proposing is that maybe what we need is some kind of law, that stipulates that the government can't, when they set the target expenditure, they have to stick to it. There are various rules that you can adopt. One is called budget balance. In other words, you spend just as much as you raise revenue for. So you set that target. Or maybe you can relate it to debt, that will achieve some kind of debt ratio. So the law will try to entrench fiscal discipline in the sense that we'll then be able to adhere to the targets that we set, but it's backed by law. And therefore, if you go against the law, there should be some sanction.
For Dr. John Kwache, although the budget is realistic, it is not ambitious enough.
Well, inflation, for instance, we are almost at 17%. So when we set 11.5% for next year, it looks realistic. But I was making the point that since it is going to take us until 2017 to return to the inflation level where we were at 2012. That's why I'm saying that maybe it's not ambitious enough. It's realistic, but it's not ambitious enough. I'm also disappointed by the fact that our growth targets are also so low. But maybe the realism is that because you are stabilizing and government is not going to pump enough money into the economy, investment will be low, and then also maybe our commodity prices, we are predicting that they may not do that well. So that is why maybe the government is targeting this lower rates of growth. But low growth means that it affects the citizen because our incomes are not going to increase as much as they should.
The IEA has also commended the creation of the EXIM and the Ghana Industrial Banks, but questions how these banks will be funded. Abigail Adamakwenchi for Joy News. The Ghana Commercial Agricultural Project wants government to augment its public-private partnership in the agri sector to help strengthen and commercialize agricultural activities in the country by creating land banks. The land banks initiative, according to officials, will help demarcate boundaries on lands for farmers and invest in large-scale farming for farmers to achieve maximum agriculture output all year.
Agricultural land banking is most frequently found where large tracts of fertile virgin land still exist, low land values, and where legislation allows large land holdings by domestic and foreign investors. The Ghana Commercial Agricultural Project Validation Workshop, which took place at Esutuari, is aiming at establishing land banks to help in the country's development. A consultant with Lusa Mills Consults Limited noted the land bank initiative will not only help attract investors into the agricultural sector, but also local farmers in operational communities.
What do you mean by unutilized land? A lot of them are land for the common grazing areas. They use it for other things. They are part of the reserve land of the community. So they tell that we have that land is reserved, we can give it to an investor because currently nobody is farming them. Occasionally they go there to graze. So they all have an idea as to what lands are available and can be used for commercial agriculture. This has been the pristine thinking in times past, but as pressure on land mounts through population increase, people begin to assert their rights over lands, and therefore the need to demarcate boundaries become imperative. So if there is any lesson to learn, this is the time we must begin to really demarcate boundaries when the pressure is still relatively down. But when we wait until the pressure mounts, then the stakes become too high and it becomes too volatile to try and then demarcate the boundaries.
However, a land management specialist, Sulemana Mahama, contends there are more land disputes in the northern part of Ghana than what is contained in the report.
In terms of land disputes within the Saga region, to be honest with you, it is very deceptive when they tell you that there is no disputes on land in the northern region. Several between neighbors, even just every farming season, just ordering 1 acre, 2 acre plots of land, you will find that a lot of the chiefs spend a lot of time just resolving these disputes between different families within the same area over farming rights, over pieces of land. So if they say there is no dispute, I don't know what they are talking about.
Project Technical Advisor of the Ghana Commercial Agriculture Project, Ram Ibo Babnani, promised they will work with all stakeholders towards implementation of the recommendations made at the workshop.
And that'll be all for business. I'm Abigail Adumakwentri. Do log on to myjournline.com for more business stories.
Now, cowhide, popularly known as wile, is a delicacy used in the preparation of many Ghanaian dishes, including sauces and soups. Health experts, however, maintain wile is not wholesome, largely because of how it is prepared. The health warning has done very little to dissuade wile patrons, and I'm not sure how this demonstration of how it is prepared will help, but I'd invite you to watch anyhow.
Discarded electronic devices have become an important source of cooking fuel for softening cowhide delicacy.
Oh, okay.
These butchers operate within the refuse at Malam in Accra, using worn-out lorry tires to burn the hides, which are often dumped on the bare floor before being transported in trucks to the market. According to these butchers, very high temperatures are needed to soften the hide for easy consumption. Thus, the use of electronic hardware as fuel for preparing wile, in spite of the health implications.
Oh, where you are, say Yarebi mo, say Yarebi mo umua. Now, Jinajanu wa, Yarenu kunu, Ajanu kunu.
Jabe ejawe kum yare.
Kum yare no. Say in case, then say what who Ajadu na Afrimata na Krobi beba ho a kunu. And at the same thing so welenu and my Arabia. Wele and my
processor mo femu amode
me unam no and we need dosun so and I am to me for gas and yet too much so gas no to me yet so into the way no near to toa near the suo akokwe hu kama wow near the and so no be akokwe mu kama na inside na ya meat.
Besides the wile being contaminated with toxic chemicals from the burning lorry tires, the smoke from the tires also poses a health and environmental threat to residents and traders at Malam.
Sisters, the problem we are facing right now is not easy. The rubbish is killing us. We can't sleep. Even the breathing itself is not easy. We are suffering. So you need your help. We need your help. We need government help. We need government help. Seriously. Our children are dying.
Meanwhile, the Public Health Director of the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, Dr. Simpson Boateng, says the Assembly has measures to put a total stop to such activities.
Yes, that is why I'm saying that we are going to sustain the exercise of arresting constant. Frequently we become here to ensure that we arrest and destroy. And when it's sustained like that, they will not want to be incurring losses and they will stop. I think that's the way to go. Okay.
Matilda Pomaga for Joy News, Accra.
I'm currently here at the Malam.
Some people simply saying that they're sticking to their wile, but that's fine. Sports is next.
Let's talk about the Ghana Under-17 team because CAF has rejected the Ghana Football Association appeal over the disqualification of the country's Under-17 team from next year's tournament for age cheating. The Ghana FA filed the appeal after CAF banned Ghana from next year's tournament after protest by Cameroon over the MRI test of one of the players of the Black Starlets. CAF's appeal board confirmed the elimination of Ghana's Under-17 team from the Under-17 Championship and confirmed the qualification of Cameroon to the final phase of the competition. The decision may be appealed at the Court of Arbitration for Sport within 10 days of the decision by the CAF Appeal Board. Meanwhile, the Ghana Football Association Executive Committee will meet on Thursday, November 27, 2014, to deliberate at the next line of action. Still talking about CAF issues, and Ashanti Gold will participate in next year's CAF Confederations Cup after the club was assured financial help from its sponsors. The Obuasi-based club had announced earlier they would not be able to compete in Africa, and Hearts of Oak also held a successful annual AGM meeting today and have confirmed participation. Ghana Premier League side Ashanti Gold have revoked an earlier decision to forfeit their place to represent Ghana in the 2015 CAF Confederations Cup. The Boise-based club has decided to take the place of Inter Allies, who were supposed to be one of the nation's reps after placing second in the last FA Cup, but withdrew their participation citing the lack of cash. Ash Gold reached the semi-final of the last FA Cup competition. Ashanti Gold last played in Africa in 2011 when they got eliminated by Tunisian side Etoile du Sahel in the penultimate qualifying round in the Confederations Cup. Meanwhile, the board, management and technical team of Accra Hearts of Oak have officially agreed to stay away from player management. They believe this would enable them to function effectively and remove all kinds of biases in their judgments as to which player qualifies to play for the club or selected for matches. Added to this, the Phobians are yet to make a concrete decision on whether to participate in the CAF Confederations Cup or not. After placing third on the league log, they have to notify the Ghana FA in due course of their participation or otherwise in order to beat the CAF deadline. And this has ignited a debate as to whether the club is in good financial standing and good form on the field of play to successfully embark on the campaign. Board Chairman Togbe Afede touched on this and a number of other pressing issues at the club's annual AGM meeting on Wednesday.
It's been written on. The difficulty with the system is the fact that we don't own the stadium.
Rahim Ayew, first son of Ghana legend Abedi Pele, suffered a gunshot wound in his right arm as armed robbers attacked him at his East Legon residence on Wednesday. There are scanty details on the robbery attack, but the pictures of his house being ransacked and his arm bandaged have been posted on the social networking sites. We found this as well from Joy Sports. Kumasi Asante Kotoko star Rahim Ayew has been injured in an armed robbery attack at his residence in East Legon. A source close to the former Black Stars player, who is also the eldest son of Abedi Pele, told Joy Sports Rahim was grazed by a bullet. Rahim was playing video games at home this dawn when he heard noises on his compound. He checked his curtains only to be met with a masked man who asked him to open the doors or be shot. He refused and moved away from the living room area, but the robbers used a heavy object to break down his door. Upon entry, one of the robbers hit Rahim with a weapon and fired a shot at him. They then took his flat-screen TV, his shoes, phones and some money. Joy Sports understands the player's residence was one of 4 in the neighborhood that was robbed during a well-coordinated operation. Joy Sports checks indicate Rahim Ayew is doing well and has filed a complaint with the East Legon police. Right, we have to just get on to some Champions League news and tell you what's happening right now. It's good news for Arsenal. They're getting into it. Let's just run through the results right now. Games are currently ongoing. Atletico Madrid lead Olympiacos by 2-0. That's what you have on your screen. In the other game, it's Juventus up by 1-0. There's no question why he's injured in that one. Real Madrid lead Barcelona by 1-0. And here's a response for Lionel Messi, who broke a record. Cristiano Ronaldo has scored a goal. Liverpool are leading Ludogorets by 2-1 away. Some life finally for Liverpool. Jordan Henderson and Ricky Lambert getting the goals in there. In Group C, Zenit St. Petersburg leading Benfica by 1-0. Not bad at all. Danny is the man who got the goal for them. Bayer Leverkusen drawing goalless with AS Monaco. In Group D, Anderlecht leading Galatasaray by 1-0. And Bemba Mangolu getting the goal there and just getting you the final result as well. Arsenal are leading Borussia Dortmund by 1-0. And, well, Yaya Sanogo who has scored the goal there. That'll be all for sports tonight. I'm George Adde Jr., but of course, you know what it is. It's hashtag say no to Willie. Good night. Israel joins us with some more.
Dancehall act Charles Nyama Mensah, popularly known as Shatawale, is leading a campaign to rally his fellow musicians to plead for the release of their colleague Kwao Kese, who was arrested on Saturday night for allegedly smoking a substance suspected to be marijuana. Kwao Kese is currently in the custody of the police in Kumasi after the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly Circuit Court denied him bail and remanded him for 2 weeks.
Unlike music producer Hama Nsakode, who simply went to sympathize with Kwao by visiting him in prison, Shatta Wale, in an exclusive interview with Showbiz, says musicians and industry players must directly intervene in his case by pleading with the police for his release.
I believe we should all fight and, beg the police. I don't think it was right for him to do what he did, but people do mistakes, and I believe we should pardon him and just, give him his talent and career back. He has family to take care of, and I believe the whole Ghana should really support this so we, rescue him out of this trouble.
Shatta Wale believes it could happen to anyone as trouble is inevitable no matter how careful one tries to be. Meanwhile, a group of young men in the hometown of the embattled hip-hop musician Kwao Kese are threatening to hit the streets if the musician is not released from custody. The group, calling themselves Ghetto Boys in Aguna Sredru, has described the detention of the rapper as unjust. Kwao Kese was remanded in police custody on Monday to reappear on December 8 to allow for police investigations. Meanwhile, the Free Kwao Kese campaign on social media continues to attract more sympathizers.
And that'll be all for Showbiz. For the bulletin, before we go a quick round through our top stories, the chairman of the Governing Council of the Narcotics Control Board has broken his silence on the dissolution of the board. The minority in Parliament is meanwhile calling for a bipartisan parliamentary committee to investigate unfolding events in the Nayele Amafepe cocaine saga. The National Democratic Congress has once again postponed its National Delegates Congress, but as it closed filing of nominations to include one surprise contender challenging the General Secretary. There were more heated exchanges in Parliament on Wednesday as debate on the 2015 budget shifted to the country's energy situation. Meanwhile, the IEA is pushing for the enactment of a fiscal responsibility law to ensure targets set in the budget are adhered to. That'll be all. My name is Israelite. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good evening.